Well, this happened. And then about a week later, it looked like this. Not bad, I'd say. Only, what, $52 and change for a replacement taillight. And I did all the labor to restore the bumper. And what follows is sort of the story, the account of how I got there. It's not perfect. There is a little bump in it still, but it's not unzipped and sticking out like it was before, so I'm quite happy that it looks like this. Let's see how we got here. It happened yesterday, in fact. I was actually at a gas station. It was one of those situations where you got to kind of back up to line up with the pump because there's somebody already parked in the space behind it. And I misjudged and hit one of those bollards, those concrete posts that they put in the ground to protect the gas pump. Actually did have like a sign strung across it, but to be honest, with the sign, those would extend out a little further, and if I'd had misjudged it, what I should have done is misjudged to try not to hit the sign. So can't really fault anybody but myself. I was saying, oh well, I missed my coffee in the morning and this is what happened, but I looked it up online. There's basically two parts here. There's the bumper cover. It looks like nothing is really mechanically damaged. The bumper reinforcement, the main part of the bumper, I think is okay. Actually, let me try and pan down a little bit here. You can see that down here it's been ripped, and it's also ripped right here. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do, and I'm going to try and effect this repair today in fairly short order, is I'm going to try and actually kind of pull the bumper back out, and if I can relax it enough, then I should be able to, those little tabs you see on the left that are all sticking out where it's bowed out, I think I can snap those back in. I think this is actually designed to kind of unzip and come off, and fortunately it's still connected right at the back of the wheel well there, so I think I can kind of get the bumper back on. Unfortunately, the tail light itself is broken, and I'm going to have to replace that. As I started to say, I looked it up online, and if I actually order from one of my clients who sells to the repair industry, they're a company that sells the parts for for people that repair accident damage, and they sell it wholesale, or wholesale plus a little whatever. Anyway, I looked it up on their website, and I'm looking at about $300 in parts for the new bumper cover and a new taillight. But I went on Amazon and I can get an aftermarket taillight for like $50 as opposed to the $100 for the genuine Honda. The bumper cover, I don't know what that would end up costing, but I have to half imagine that the shipping would be ridiculous. So I may borrow somebody's Amazon Prime account if I can. But for today, the task is going to be to try and get the bumper back up and running. And then there's one other issue with the tail light, which I'll try and demonstrate. Okay, you can see the left turn signal, and I apologize for the shakiness here. I'm going to try and rest my camera on the steering wheel. The left turn signal is blinking rather fast. If I go to right, it's a bit slower. And my suspicion is that there's something wrong electrically with that tail light, but it may be as simple as somehow in the crash the light bulb got jostled loose, and because it's trying to pump out enough current to handle the front and back turn bulbs, that if the back bulb is out, then it might be, because it's pumping so much current into it, it's causing the blinker to actually go faster. So I need to go check that out. So let's get out of the car and take a look. So for reference, that's the right turn signal and how fast it's going. And sure enough, there's nothing happening with the left. In fact, if I get down there, you can see the bulb, and the fact that it is, I hope you can see the bulb, but it is not flashing. So I don't know if it killed the bulb. I'm gonna have to see about getting a new bulb and see if that's the problem, or open it up and see if the connectors just come loose. Alright, well, I've got the back cover off and I've got the light out, and I can't see any real signs of damage there. So what I'm going to do is go get my voltmeter and test with the car on and the light blinking. Alright, well, that's a relief. I've got voltage. Right now I got it set on AC volts. Realistically, because of the way the voltage pulses, it could be considered either AC or DC, and if anybody's watching this as an instructional video, I hope you're not, because I haven't gone and looked up the actual numbers that should be here, and I'm not sure about the duty cycle on what it's blinking, so I'm guessing it should be 12 volts coming out, but in pulses. And 12 volts actually, without a load, will actually go higher. 12 times the square root of 2. So if you want to calculate that, you can see it's probably going to come up around 16, which if you've been watching this, it pops up to 16 from time to time. So if I actually switch this, just for anybody that's curious, I'm going to switch it off so I can go over to DC volts and then switch it back on. And you'll see it's doing basically the same thing. Actually, the volts aren't coming up quite as high, but it says to me that there is voltage being delivered to this particular socket, which is a good thing. So I think I may have gotten lucky, and this is just a matter of replacing the bulb. It must be that the bulb just got shocked in the crash. Okay, so now we know that we can probably fix the light bulb issue and actually get a turn signal, which means I'll be safe as I'm driving, and the people behind me will be safe. This is really kind of important, and I did have somebody honk at me yesterday towards the end of the day as I was driving home, and I think they were trying to tell me that they could see that my turn signal wasn't working. How they knew exactly that I was turning left, I'm not sure. Maybe I was in a left turn lane at the time. But I think the next task now is going to be to try and fix this area down here and see if I can't pop that back out a little bit, which should then hopefully relax some of the other parts of it. So part of me is thinking maybe the trick is to get a dent puller, but what I want to do next, I'm effectively just going to give up on this for the moment, and if I think of something else, I'll add it to the end of the video. But there's the stuff on the left where it kind of unzipped there. I'm going to see if I can't push that back in anyway. Okay, well, that didn't work. I think the problem is actually the part that I was trying to push out before. I think it needs to be pushed or pulled out so it's a little more straight, because what it's actually doing is creating resistance when I try and connect that back together. So as long as I can figure that out before I run into something else and disconnect it where it's connected up at the wheel well there, I think I can still do it. But the primary concern for today, before I go back to work tomorrow, is to get a replacement bulb and put it in there so it's safe to drive. Safe for the people around me. Mechanically, I don't think there's anything wrong with the car, it's just cosmetics. So I'm going to look at some kind of dent puller solution and see if I can figure that out. And if I can, I'll come back to it. Otherwise, I was hoping to put this together and release a video today, but this is just, since I got work tomorrow, I'm just going to have to do this when I have the opportunity. Greetings and good morning. I am now at my parents' place. It's about 6 days later. I've changed plans just a little bit. I did some research to kind of understand what I'm dealing with and how I have to do this repair. Also, since the last time, I found a few of the bigger pieces of the tail light and taped it back together so I wouldn't blind people. I've replaced the light bulb, so that's been fine. And in doing my research, I found out that in order to replace the tail light, which I've ordered and has now arrived, I have to remove the bumper. So if I got to remove the bumper anyway, it makes sense to take the whole thing off. And then I'm going to try a little experiment. Generally, you want to heat up the area that's been dented. And remember, this is not an instructional video, but what I found out. But you want to heat up the area that's been dented so that you can push the dent back out from the other side. And I'm thinking, this is Southern California, it gets hot, it's supposed to be in the mid 80s today. That's not extremely hot, but I'm going to pull the bumper and I'm going to lay it in the sun and we'll see what happens with that. I've got some other work to do around here, so I'll do that for a while the bumper sits, and if that doesn't work, I'll go to plan B. Okay, now if I understand it right, there should be a screw and a bolt here where it meets the wheel well on both sides, obviously. Behind that black cap there should be another one, and at the bottom of the bumper there's either 2 or 4 holding it on. So I'm going to go ahead and try and get this bumper off. Okay, success, and without much damage. I've got the bumper off. The only problem was the clips at the very bottom. They seem like they'd been baked in the sun, or just somehow they've been heat exposed, so they're very sort of brittle. But I did looked it up on YouTube, and I found a video where the guy was carefully prying it out with a flat head screwdriver. I ended up using vice grips to pull. It's kind of hard to describe. There's sort of a pin in the middle, you pull the pin down and then the whole clip comes out. I basically just had to grab the center of that pin. It just got all mangled while I was trying to pry it out with the flathead screwdriver. But anyway, now I have a bumperless car. Well, actually, technically, that's the bumper right there in the middle, the white part. But the cover's off. So now, as the cover sits over here, I'm going to go figure out how to try and put it in the sun. There is sun next to the car here, so put it in the sun, let it bake for a few hours, and see if that makes any difference at all. And we'll go from there. Okay, folks, so the bumper's been sitting in the sun now for a couple of hours at least. I'll try and put a time on up in the corner so you can see. I've been working on other things, I'm not sure. Anyway, it's been a couple hours, and I'm going to go ahead and try and just see if I can't push that thing back by hand. Holy cow, it worked. I didn't need tools or anything. I literally just pushed it with the palm of my hand, managed to get it mostly back together. It looks so much better. The real test will be putting it on, but there is one little, well, let me give you a comparison. This is what it looks like. I'm hoping that's getting a good angle. It's really sunny out, so it's hard for me to see what I'm doing. But that's what it looks like when it's not damaged. And that's what it looks like damaged but repaired. And you can see right up here, and I'm trying to keep my shadow out of the picture, there's still a little bump going up. So I'm gonna let it sit for a little while longer and try and figure out some way to actually push that back down. Because if I flip over the bumper, and this is going to get really shaky here, and now the bumper is really hard to manage because it's the plastic has gotten so soft. But now you can see what it looks like from the outside, and that bump is right up here. So I'm going to see if I can do something about that. Okay, this is the replacement part, and I gotta say it looks pretty darn good. A really nice match. If anything, maybe a little bit too much contrast. I apologize for the lights shining, but compared to the other one that's on there, I mean, this just looks so much newer. That's what I was a little bit afraid of, but The problem is you look at the pictures on Amazon and sometimes it's a little hard to tell, and I don't know if you can see it that well here, but it looks like it's a darn close match considering it's not OEM, and even the OEM probably looks more like this, like new car. So it's just going to be slightly different, but I was afraid it was going to be kind of a milky, you know, more like what it looks like down here, at least on video, or at least on the screen I'm looking at. I was afraid it was going to be more like that than like that. But this is really nice and clear. I like this. So now the chore is to remove the old one, put the new one on, and we'll see what happens with the bumper. I'm still letting that sit in the sun a little bit longer, but then it occurred to me, the position of that little bump that I want to push back in, it's not a rip, it's not pushed in, it's actually bowed out. But the position of that is like right where it gets hit with the sun all the time anyway. So if I just kind of leave it alone, it might actually relax on its own, and one day I might just, you know, when I'm parked in a parking lot for a couple hours or something, I might come out and just be able to push it back in. Okay, the first surprise, other than the fact that the bumper idea worked, is this down here is pretty mangled, this bracket. But I think if I'm careful, I can just bend it back. So now working on getting this off. Okay, so I know the lighting in here isn't ideal. If I can, I'll get a better picture and just put that up, but I wanted to show the broken one versus the replacement. And the broken one is a little bit more orange, and I think I see what's going on with the pictures on Amazon. It's tough to get a good picture without it looking washed out. This here, you know, if I get it from a certain angle, looks nice. You get over a little bit more like that and it looks just washed out. It loses a bunch of contrast. But anyway, that's what they look like. Alright, so that went on without too much fuss. No real surprises except that the fitment isn't perfect. Let me see if I can show you. I don't know how well this is going to come through, but close-up wise, let me see if I come around the other side. Does that help? So you can kind of see that it's not perfectly lined up. I think that they got the curve right, but they got the placement of the studs in the back slightly off. So when you put it in, it tends to stick out a little further down here. Where's my finger? There we go. Stick out a little further down here and fall down a little here. So what I do is I just kind of carefully tried to get a median version of that somewhere in the middle before I tighten down all the bolts. So that takes care of that. Now let's put the bumper back on. Actually, let's see if we can't push this in. It's been sitting in the sun for a little bit longer, and it doesn't really want to go. I'm gonna give it one more shot, and then the next thing you'll see is me putting it on. Okay, so the right side went on without too much of a fight, but that wasn't the one that was messed up. It is a little unwieldy trying to hold it and move it around, but here's the left side, and here's the real test to see if it'll work. I'm going to try. This is really hard to do one-handed, and I forgot my tripod. Ooh, that was nice. That's in. Alright, looks like I'm going to have to pull this off and kind of zip it back in the other way. So, I'll take a shot at it. Okay, so I see another problem is I didn't get it exactly lined up there when I put it on, so I may have to pull the right side back off again, get that mounted correctly, and then this will zip in. Alright, let's take another shot at that. Particularly difficult to do if you're doing it one-handed, but what I'm doing actually is trying to line it up here and hope to have enough up above to start pushing that in last thing I want to do is screw this up hopelessly while trying to film it. So I am going to go ahead and do it not on film. As the wind picks up, there it is, back together. Let me give you another angle. Well, that's how we've been looking at it for however long this video is. So I apologize, there's a lot of little bits and pieces, but I just kind of wanted to document everything. Unfortunately, it looks like because of the crack here, that's never going to quite fit in. There's always going to be this little shelf right here, so it's not perfect. I still got to put the actual nuts and bolts on. Bolts and screws. But overall, I'd say that came out pretty good. Alright folks, that's it all wrapped up. I'm actually quite happy with how it came out. I mean, well, the only way it's going to be better is to take it to a body shop and have them go through their whole rigmarole. Or if I'm doing it here, buying a whole new bumper cover. But I actually managed to get most of the dent out of that bumper. I mean, that's just amazing to me how well that worked. There is still this bit here, but let me sort of get my shadow out of the way there. I'm just, like I said, I'm going to look at it as it'll get heated up in the sun, and maybe sometime this summer when it's 110 degrees or 115 degrees outside, I'll come out, look at my bumper, and give it another shot. That should heat up the bumper significantly. I'm not going to worry about hot water. I'm not going to worry about a heat gun. It seems like if you live in a warm enough climate, at least in some cases, you can remove a dent from a bumper cover. So that's it for this story. Thanks for watching.